Spoiler warning, I'm going to talk about the entire WandaVision series, so if you haven't already seen it at this point, or you don't have Disney Plus and you are going to get it, like I did, I highly suggest you do so. You have been warned.
20 fingers and 20 toes. You've got two healthy baby boys on your hands.
Thank you, Doctor.
All in a day's work. And thank you for your assistance, young lady. I think you might have what it takes to be a nurse.
Oh, I get it. Because during that time period, people were still sexist towards women, so she couldn't be a doctor and had to be a nurse instead. Yeah, that joke wasn't funny. And it was very subtle too. I'm surprised I caught it. Anyways, roll the intro. WandaVision is the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s? What year is this again? Oh, it's still 2021? Dang. Anyway, WandaVision is an American sitcom found on DisneyPlus, home of The Mandalorian and whatever the f this is. This 9-episode series stars, you guessed it, the Marvel superheroes of Wanda and Vision, as we explore what happened to them after the whole yeah, that. But wait, Vision's alive when he should be dead. Wanda has children, and these two didn't kiss once out of the 6 episodes that they were introduced. Alright. Deep breath. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start from the beginning. Just to summarize WandaVision really quick for those of you who hadn't watched it and don't care about spoilers. I mean, of course you don't care about spoilers because you're this far into my video. Anyway, here's a quick rundown just so what I'm saying makes sense to you. The first 3 episodes are basically Wanda and Vision having wacky adventures in their black and white colored town. Then, in the 4th episode, we learn that Wanda has actually captured a town called Westview, located in New Jersey, and is controlling the citizens through her pain to do what she wants. In the same episode, we meet an organization called SWORD, who are trying to save the citizens inside Wanda's bubble. The 5th, 6th, and 7th episodes go back to that sitcom feel, but now in color. Wanda is learning how to take care of children, and Vision is starting to notice that this town isn't all that it seems to be, and Wanda has something to do with it. Episode 8, we find out that Wanda isn't the only witch in Westview, and why, when she took over Westview, out of everything it could have been, it became a sitcom. We also learn that
your children, Vision, this whole little life you've made. This is chaos magic, Wanda. And that makes you the Scarlet Witch.
But we already knew that when she was first introduced 2 movies ago in Age of Ultron. Like, get with the times, man. Finally, in episode 9, we have a battle between the 2 witches and the 2 visions. Westview is restored and Wanda loses everything. Again. Alright, now that you're all caught up, let's explore what went wrong with WandaVision.
But jokes aside, all this stuff here, where every episode is a different era of TV sitcom or whatever, like, I love this. The references to Growing Pains, Malcolm in the Middle, Modern Family, I was like, finally someone decided to do something different. Because like I said, every superhero show and movie up to this point is basically just the same thing over and over again, and somehow everyone just keeps on eating it up.
This clip was taken from Alex Myers' video on this exact same topic, and was part of the reason why I wanted to make this video in the first place. WandaVision does a lot of things correctly, especially in the first 3 episodes. The references to older sitcoms and even some modern ones make this show different and give it character. From the laugh tracks to the border width and length, these episodes are the best ones in the series, in my opinion. WandaVision took 2 superheroes and gave them a normal setting, free from the action-packed world of the rest of the MCU. There was no fighting, no fancy flashing lights, no over-the-top sets, just a woman and her husband going through the normal 60s and 70s style dilemmas, with small amounts of ability usage added for the comedic effect. Take for example this magic axe scene in episode 2.
A staggering feat of strength! Huh?
Illusion! Illusion!
Yeah.
Master of Enigma, allow me.
What?
weren't supposed to see how we did that trick.
That was my grandmother's piano.
This is only a small part of the scene because I don't want to get copyrighted, even though this technically falls under fair use. But even this small section shows how Wanda and Vision can use their abilities for more than just fighting. It can be used for comedy as well. Even though the disguise of the magic show made some of the jokes kind of predictable, it was still enjoyable to watch. Then we get into episode 4, the worst episode in the series. As I've already said, this is the episode where we learn what's actually going on in Westview, and it's done through an outsider's perspective, Sword's perspective. This episode just explains the world of WandaVision for all of the people who still haven't figured it out yet, in a nice, neat little bow, and I hate it so much. This episode turns WandaVision into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and even though I haven't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I know it's all about the supernatural. Instead of being called S.H.I.E.L.D. though, the organization's called Sword, and they have a whole different agenda. Oh, frick. Sword, shield. I just now got that. Now I feel dumb. Okay, anyway, what was I saying? Alright, the whole appeal of this show to me was the fact that it was different from the rest of the other titles in the MCU. I mean, of course it's still an MCU property, which forces it to have some levels of supernatural, but again, I was fine when it was used for comedic effect, like I've already explained before. Now they're explaining to us that Wanda has some kind of force field and she's controlling the citizens of Westview, and it's too much information for one episode. But I get that they need another side plot instead of just having Wanda and Vision take up the entirety of the spotlight in their own show. Episodes 5 through 7 are mainly Vision trying to figure out what's happening in Westview, and Wanda taking care of her children and dealing with not being on the same page as Vision all the time. Let's shove Wanda out of the way of her own show for a second and talk about the other half, Vision. The way he slowly figures out about what's going on in Westview is so beautifully crafted. From his freak out at his job, to the people being frozen at the edge of the town, which is beautiful, might I add, to Vision's attempt at telling the rest of the world what's going on inside. This side plot is definitely better than the Sword one, and if episode 4 was placed after this episode, just as like an explanation episode to maybe confirm what people are thinking, it would make WandaVision infinitely better. Let me set the scene. After Vision notices these tiny cracks in the world that Wanda has created, he questions Wanda. The viewers start to form their own theories about what's going on because episode 4 hasn't happened yet. Vision, not getting a direct answer from Wanda about what's going on, decides to explore on his own, where he finds people frozen at the edge of the town. Seeing these people in pain, he breaks through the barrier and finds soldiers on the outside. The viewers are confused because episode 4 hasn't happened yet again, and Vision cries for help. Then episode 4 happens, and everyone's theories are either confirmed or rejected, and we get a little more explanation as to how the soldiers surrounded the perimeter of Wanda's force field, and why they're there in the first place. This would make for a much more immersive fan base and a much more mysterious story. Disney, honestly, where's my job offer? Like, these ideas don't come for free. Episode 8 is fine, because it's just explaining why, out of everything Westview could have turned into, it had to be a 60s sitcom. That all gets explained when Agatha, Wanda's neighbor, gets revealed to be one of the antagonists and goes to the subconscious of Wanda's mind to try and figure out why she is what she is, the Scarlet Witch. In this Blast of the Past episode, we learn that some of her favorite memories as a child were when she was watching sitcoms with her family, because
Always becomes 5.
that's why Westview got turned to a black and white sitcom, because Wanda subconsciously wanted, and honestly deserves, a happy ending. In episode 9, the second worst episode of the series, she doesn't get that happy ending. Instead, there's a big climactic final battle between Wanda and Agatha where Disney flexes how much money it can spend on special effects. This episode was such a disappointment. Not in the action or the story, but the fact that it became a basic MCU property. A villain with a set of morals that have a fine basis if you squint at it long enough, gets defeated by the quirky yet relatable hero. The same formula that all MCU movies follow, and I thought I was going to get away from in this show, but I shouldn't have expected anything less. It also made the ending very predictable. She sacrifices her own happiness to free the entire town of Westview that she accidentally subjected under her control for the duration of the entire series. It just disappointed me, to say the least. If WandaVision comes out with a season 2, I probably will watch it, but honestly, if it continues down the path it's headed now, I don't know if I can truly get invested, especially since Vision's out of the picture and he's literally in the other half of the title. But honestly, I think that Vision is going to come back with the white Vision. But that's just a little mini theory that I have, personally. After all this talk about how bad the show got the longer I watched it, I still would recommend it. Especially if you like Marvel, then you'll love this. And if you don't, just watch the first 3 episodes. I promise they won't disappoint you. Honestly, I think this show could have had so much potential if it had just deviated from the MCU formula. But it is what it is, I guess. Again, if you have a DisneyPlus subscription and don't have a clue of what to watch, or are watching Mandalorian for the 20th time, first, watch Hamilton, because that musical is amazing, but then give WandaVision a try. Thanks for listening, and I hope I see you guys in the next video.